What's good, everybody? It's CJ. We're back at it again today. Today we're going to explore 3 new plugins I just added to my arsenal that I definitely think you should have in your arsenal too. If you have any questions or whatever about them, please feel free to use the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you're notified anytime I upload some new content. All right, let's dive into this thing. I wanted to quickly play you this beat that I made. It literally has just like a few sounds in it. I'm using a sample from the Crave sample pack by It's Jason that you could cop on frequency.com. Link in the description for that, as well as in the cards right here. The hi-hats come from a hi-hat MIDI loop pack called Slime Hats, also available at frequency.com. Link in the description as well as in the cards. Go check out those packs, they're super fire. Alright, so the first runner-up is ABLETUNES Reverb. ABLETUNES shot me over this this reverb plugin, and I'm a sucker for really dope reverbs because I always like adding a lot of width and ambience to my sounds. And the really dope thing about this reverb plugin, it has a lot more parameters to play with than any other reverb plugin I ever came across. First things first, you got a input EQ, so you could actually EQ the sound prior to going into the reverb. And then you got a dampening EQ, so you can like take out harsh tones or harsh frequencies that hurt the ear after it goes through the reverb. Down below you got like things to play with in the extra section here: soft attack and tail control. So if you have like you're adding a lot of reverb to one of your samples or whatever it might be, the tail control will allow you to cut the tail off of that reverb so it doesn't bleed into other sounds that much, which is really dope. You got a reflections area, pre-delay, width, ER, and diffusion you could play around with. It has a built-in compressor, which is really dope. If you want to make that sound with the reverb stand out a little more, you can do that using the compressor. And then you got a modulation section here where you can select a frequency and then use the intensity knob to enhance that frequency. So in any event, really dope plugin. I really like the look of it too. The design is really sleek, so let's try it out. I'm just going to solo out the sample, and right now we just got a default. I'm not going to use any presets. Obviously, if you're going to get this reverb plugin, you could play around with them, but I'm going to create my own reverb preset with this right now, and let's see what we can come up with. Take out some of the low end of that sound. And what I like about this EQ, it's not too destructive. Like, it still leaves a little bit of low end even though I'm cutting it off. All right, let's start working with this decay. Let's change the size of the reverb and see what that does. Last but not least, in that section you have the dry and the wet. And the dry and the wet is basically just a mixture of the dry sound, meaning without the reverb, and the wet with the reverb. So you could apply a percentage and see what sounds good. Flute is fire. Anyway, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come here and also use a dampening EQ. This is the EQ that gets applied after it goes through the reverb, and I'm going to cut more low end off of that, and then I'm going to try and find sections of the sound that I might not like that much and tone them down. All right, sounds pretty fire so far. So what I'm going to work on next is the soft attack and the tail control. Let's see what it sounds like. You're just going to bring it back to the front. To understand what these knobs do, what I usually do is like apply the effect in full at 100% and then go backwards and see what it sounds like. And then find a balance that works with that sound. cool. So I like it so far. I'm going to use the pre-delay a little bit and see what it does. All right, that sounds dope so far. Last section I'm going to work with here, you saw me play around with the compressor a little bit. Last section I'm going to play with is the modulation. So let's bring the intensity to 100% and then work our way around the frequencies to see what it does. Oh, it gives it like sort of a detune effect. That's crazy. I'm getting chills right now. Really dope reverb plugin by ABLETUNES. Thanks a lot, ABLETUNES, for giving me this reverb to check out. Definitely going to use this a lot more in my beats now, in my production. All right, so next plugin up is MYSHBY by FREAKSHOW Industries. You might have seen me use FREAKSHOW Industry plugins before. You know, I don't know how well known they are, but they make some really crazy stuff, especially their graphics. Like, if that's not inspirational to you, I don't know what is, but any of the plugins that I'm mentioning, obviously I'm going to put links in the description for you to check out. Again, this one is MYSHBY by FREAKSHOW Industries. As you can see, it looks like no other plugin you've probably used. There are not a lot of hints about what these knobs and buttons do. So you have to like really use your ears to figure out what this plugin does. So you got a quality knob up top here, dist, which I guess is distortion, something that looks like 5 X's and boxes, I don't even know. Noise. You got a desync feature. That's something I'm definitely interested in. You got these 3 levers here, L, M, and H. Don't know what that means. We'll have to test that out. You got a rate and delta. Again, no idea. We'll have to dive into that. Up here, you got this lever that you could pull down. We're going to check that out. And then you got a no and maybe button that I guess enables other features in the plugin. But anyway, we're going to check all that out right now. Let's loop off a section of that sample, and we'll start working with the quality. You know, bringing down the quality, I guess, makes the plugin happier. You got a smiley face over here. But in any event, it feels as though, you know, it's taking some of the high-end sheen off of the sample while I bring the quality up or down, I guess. So I'm going to keep it around here. Let's work with this distortion and see what works. Yeah, simple distortion. Let's check out this other knob here. Very destructive. So I'm going to tone it down a little bit. And you got noise. All right, so that's just like electrical noise, I guess. Let's work with the desync feature now and see what that does. So in order to, you saw this little fucking, what is this, unicorn pop up when you're using the rate. I guess we have to apply fire. Let's apply a little bit of fire and see what. Definitely got to apply some Beatz to that as well. And you can't forget lightning strikes. Definitely one of the most experimental plugins I've ever used. Makes the sample sound really old and destructive in a sense. So let's play around with it a little more, see what else we got. We got this lever down here. This is what I found most interesting. Let's see what it does. I don't know, that's crazy. Maybe we'd want to only apply a little bit of that. It's this little lever right here, or this little knob right here, DCD, makes it sound a little more digital, I guess. let's see what happens when I switch the maybe on. Got length, probability, character, and SB width. I have no idea, but definitely a weird plugin to work with, but in any event, it was kind of fun. I'll put a link in the description for MYSHBY by FREAKSHOW Industries. They also have some other plugins that you should definitely check out, so link in the description for that. Let's dive into the next plugin. All right, so next plugin up is Melodyne Editor. This is a plugin that I wanted for a really long time because of one really dope feature that it has, and that is the ability to convert wave samples into MIDI. And you know, so I've always played around with like conversion plugins, especially like Logic's conversion from wave to MIDI. None of the stuff that I ever tried really worked when I wanted to convert, you know, wave into MIDI. But Melodyne Editor's algorithm that it has is superior, like no joke. I've never come across a plugin or a DAW that can do it like Melodyne Editor. Quick note, it is quite expensive, but if that's something you want to do in the future, like convert wave into MIDI and like to enhance your the samples that you're working with, it's definitely a must-have. They do have a trial version, so you could definitely, you know, try out a trial version first. But let me just tell you, you're gonna get hooked to this. I'm telling you right now, this is probably one of the best plugins in my arsenal right now, and I'm giving away all my secrets as usual. I'm a fucking idiot, but what are you gonna do? All right, so the way it works is this plugin is placed on top of the sample, just basically in your effects rack here on top of that sample. You're gonna hit transfer and just play the sample back. All right, so as you see, it did something called Polyphonic Detection. Prior to you hitting transfer and playing back the sample in order to capture the MIDI, what you want to make sure of is that the algorithm is set to polyphonic sustain. It took me a while to figure that out, so giving away sauce as usual. Yeah, and in any event, so polyphonic sustain is selected, you hit transfer, you just let the sample play, and boom, you got all of the notes right here. Now the cool thing is you could just save this as MIDI. So now you could save it as MIDI, do it anywhere you want. I'll just put it on the desktop, call it tutorial MIDI. Once you've done that, you could apply a new instrument and then import that MIDI right onto it. Let's do that next. So I'm gonna unsolo this. I'm just gonna hit add another software instrument here. Let's go with an instance of Omnisphere. I'm going to use Retro Vibes, which is an Omnisphere bank that you could get on frequency.com. This is one of my Omnisphere go-to banks. My favorite sound is the old vinyl key, so I'm going to go with that. Let's import that MIDI that we extracted using Melodyne Editor. Just drop it right in there. And we'll bring it to, since it's 4 bars, we'll bring it to the 5 to 9 bar or 8 bar section here. And now you can take a look at the MIDI that it extracted. What I like to do is just a little bit of housekeeping, selecting all the really loud notes like this. Just holding Shift down on my keyboard. And we're gonna just use that and bring those down. If you don't see the MIDI velocity at the bottom, all you got to do is hit this guy right here. Now let's take the really low ones and bring them up a little bit. I'm going to work on this hi-hat a little bit. This is the hi-hat MIDI loop that I imported from Slime Hats, as I mentioned earlier. You know, maybe there are some sections that don't really fit with the rhythm, so I might want to fix those. Maybe we can use a brush tool, just fix that up a little bit. Maybe use a really fast one. All it really needs now is maybe an 808, so I'm just going to lay down an 808 and call it a day. Let's have a listen to this beat. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, you know what to do. Put those in the comments section. My name is CJ and I'm out for now. Peace.